Hi everyone. It's a pleasure to join Dell's live stream here. And yeah, I'm actually Papua New Guinean. I was actually studying here in the Philippines, but I already graduated last year. And 2015 was the my first year here when I came to the Philippines. And since then, I've been doing a lot. I've been doing some vlogging around here while being in school. And yeah, I've been posting videos on YouTube and all that. So. Yeah, I'm actually from New Island province in Papua New Guinea. For those of you who are watching not from Papua New Guinea but from elsewhere, yeah, New Island is a province in Papua New Guinea. So yeah, yes, bro. In the Philippines, I've been here for almost probably 7 years now. Yeah, 7 years, 4 months. Yeah, almost a citizen. So like once you reach 8 years, that's where you can apply for citizenship. Such a good place to come and raise a family here. Like, yeah, yeah, people are friendly here. Everything is just not really expensive, not that cheap, but still affordable. Yeah. Apart from Manila, Manila is actually one of the places. They said the Philippines is cheap, but when you go to Manila, Manila is not cheap. There are places in Manila where it's really, uh, yeah. Um, as as someone who's been here in the Philippines, like when I came here in the Philippines, I spent the rest of my days in the Philippines in Cebu because where I attended school. And comparing Cebu to Manila, Cebu is more cheaper than Manila. Manila, as some people from other countries, like the Western countries or countries where the high standard of living is high, when they come into Manila, like you mentioned, you when if you go to Manila, you would see the prices of goods. Then you say, "Oh, this is cheap. Like this is really really good." But in fact, when Cebuanos, like people living in Cebu, go to Manila, or other people from other provinces going to Manila, they find Manila a bit more expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. My microphone has been mute this whole time, but yours is coming through clear. Thanks,
Uh,
Magic. Cassie Carroll, thank you very much for the like. Welcome to the stream, fam.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Oh, people find it.
Stephen, he's a vlogger. He does YouTube videos. He's got his own channel. So I've put a link. I should actually paste a link onto the chat, but
Yeah. Thanks, man.
I'll do that quickly. But if you want to check him out, go type in. Oh, Steven, you explain how they can find your channel.
You can go to YouTube and just type Stephen Banamu. Steven and then Banamu. That's my surname. So it's actually my real name being used also on my YouTube channel. So yeah, it's not easy to. It's not easy to. It's not that hard to find my YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm posting a link now into
Yeah.
the chat. That's Steven's YouTube channel. Go check him out. He's got some good stuff, entertaining stuff.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, today I invited you, Steven, to come on to the live stream and sort of uh, the topic of discussion is mental health, and we
mhm.
were we were we were trying to focus on mental health in PNG, but we also like I also realized that mental health in general in the world is a big issue at the moment. Due to the pandemic and things like that, a lot of issues are coming out related to mental health. So I reached out to you, and I believe you told me one of your friends was going through some sort of issues with mental health.
Yes. Actually, one of my American friend is actually American. I met him also here in Cebu, and yeah, he's actually a bipolar disorder. Yeah,
Okay,
and he has these mood swings where sometimes he's really happy, sometimes he's just really like mad for no reason at all, and
right.
sometimes yeah, he just busts out of nowhere, like his emotions, is all over the place. And
There's
when
a
he's
it
actually in
can
a
be a
good mood,
complete shift from
Yeah,
moods. Is it? Yeah.
yeah, it, it- yeah. It's actually a complete shift from normal to a really high.
Mm,
Um, the happiness level is already up there, and
yeah.
all of a sudden he's mad about something like yeah. It's actually a bipolar disorder. So bipolar disorder is a I don't know if it's common in PNG because I haven't actually experienced someone with bipolar disorder in PNG,
Mm,
but in other countries it's actually really common.
mm,
um,
mm.
the Western countries like yeah I think yeah it's actually a disorder depression. It's actually a depression disorder.
Right.
So
Do
yeah,
do you
sometimes
think?
it's really hard to
Sorry. Do you
sorry.
think it's related to, like, does it, is it an outcome of a traumatic experience or something, or people are just like, as they're getting older they develop these symptoms of bipolar?
It I think it depends though. Sometimes it's because I was reading about depression earlier, and I one of the causes of depression is actually genetics. So if someone in the family has this bipolar disorder, it's most likely that someone will inherited
Right.
that
Okay.
disorder. So yeah, also with general depression, like if someone in the family is all depressed a lot, it's most likely to pass down to generation.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So with my friend, he told me that he's not bipolar, but for his case, he's probably, I don't know, probably because of the situations or it's just how he was being, um, developed that disorder over time.
right. Right.
And also, yeah, to get back to your point, I think it depends if the person is it's being passed over in terms of genetics, or sometimes it's mostly to do with the situation that they are facing, like
Right.
probably the past traumatic stress, and the family is not showing enough support to them,
Yeah.
or they are just being around the environment that is toxic, and they just
Mm,
kind of see the world differently. So yeah,
yeah.
I think
So
it's
I
it
I read I
depends.
read about I read about it just a little bit just before the stream, because I had
Hmm.
like very little knowledge. I'm not a doctor or anything, so I don't really know much about the disorders and stuff. But from what I read, it sometimes there's the complete shifts, and you have like hyper manic, sort of very high
Yeah,
um, emotions, and then
yeah, it's called
it can go right down to very
maniac.
depressive. Yeah,
Yes,
manic depression. Yeah.
yes.
So, and
Yeah, maniac.
sometimes it can last months, or it can last from days to weeks to months.
Yeah.
So I think it would be very hard to detect. I'm just guessing, but I would guess that it would be really hard for someone to detect it unless you're trained in that, in that area.
Hmm.
Mm.
And some people that have this maniac episode. It's called maniac episode where
Yeah.
the mood is just really high up there.
Mm, mm.
And yeah, most of the time you would experience with people like trying to be they just out coming out of nowhere, and they would be like starting to say inspirational things, and they're gonna say that we're gonna do this, change the world. You know, yeah, it depends. Regarding my friend, the American friend that he was actually here in before Cebu, um, he would go through this maniac episode and he would message me and he said, "Bro, can you bring your camera over? We have to do something to change the world." And and
Yeah.
then sometime later he
To
would
change
message me
to
again, and
change the world.
yeah, yeah, he would
Wow.
message me again and he would be like, "Bro, I'm thinking of starting what's that? There was a thing that he told me. I'm thinking of starting a shelter where people we can the poor people around the Philippines and here in Cebu. Like he
With
would be coming up
ideas.
with all these yeah, all these
Yeah.
ideas. Yeah, and some of these ideas are not like if you think about it, it's not realistic. Like
I mean,
these
I don't
guys
mean to laugh,
just
but yeah,
coming.
I
Yeah,
can imagine
um,
like some of my friends, if
yeah,
they did that, I'll be like, yo, just calm down.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's when
be
he's up
realistic.
at the yeah. That's when he's up at the he's having that maniac episode.
Right,
But when
right.
he goes down to his lowest, he would unfriend all of his
Unfriend.
friends on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even me, I think he unfriended me like probably 2 times already. And he
Yeah.
was just trying to isolate himself, like locking indoors all day,
Wow.
like
That
probably
is, yeah.
some weeks. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
you know,
Kenas, or Magical Bunny, I call him Magical Bunny. Kenas has a
uh,
question. Do you consider anxiety as a mental health disorder? Anxiety as a mental health disorder.
anxiety.
He's talking.
Do
He's talking.
I do I consider anxiety as mental health disorder? Um,
That's a
I'm not
tough
really a
question.
professional.
Yeah,
I'm not
we
really
mm,
I'm not really professional in this, but I think it depends if the mental anxiety goes for some weeks and
mm,
some months.
mm.
That's when it's already probably like um, a
Yeah,
mental disorder. So you have to seek help if someone is going through all of like with but anxiety only lasts for some days. But if
if it goes
lasts
longer.
for one day, but if it goes on and on for some weeks and goes on for some months, that's when it's already not normal. You have to seek help for that. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah,
But yeah, Kenneth, I must say that we are not professionals.
yeah.
What I'm trying to do is trying to just openly discuss, and that's a good question. And I think
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'm trying to get the PomGen psychiatric doctor to come on one of the live streams. So keep that
Okay.
question, bro, and then we'll point that question directly to the professional when she comes on. So that's I'm trying to still organize that, but hopefully in the next week or so we should try and answer your question in more with a quality professional behind it
Yes.
instead of us. But thank you for the question,
That's
though.
yes.
But
Uh,
yeah, that is a good point you made. That you would think that if it tends to go longer than a few days or a weeks, then you would consider that to be a disorder or maybe an illness
yes.
that
Well,
someone's going through. But yeah, but going back to your friend, so you actually noticed it, huh? So when he was in those stages, you actually noticed it, and did your other friends around him notice it, or did anyone know, or he just kind of hid it from you?
actually, actually, we just I actually met him here in Cebu. He was actually living in the same street as with me,
Okay.
in the same street. He was actually my neighbor. So
Hmm.
when I met him, he was like, yeah, when I met him, he was, he's actually a really good person. Like openly talk with strangers. And yeah, I made friends with him. And then along the way, he just told me, bro, I'm actually bipolar. And I didn't know
Right.
what bipolar at the time. I don't know. I was like, what is bipolar? And he
Mm-hmm.
explained to me like I have these moments where my mood is all over the place. I would go like very happy, and then sometimes I would be like really sad, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I just lock myself in the house. And yeah, and he told me that there was actually a time where he was actually suicidal. I
Right.
probably couldn't even deal with it anymore. So he was actually suicidal, and that was back in the States when he was in the US. Um, and because of that, he came here in the Philippines. He couldn't even find a job because everywhere he goes, everywhere he's been like he couldn't even control his emotions when bipolar disorder is in place.
Right. Right.
So yeah,
Would
yeah.
he would he
Uh,
would he say would he like lash out at people, or was he like uncontrollable, like you couldn't be around him, or how was what was his reaction?
he um at moments like he would like I don't really live with him, but there was like moments where we used to meet up and then just go for dinner together. Yeah, with his girlfriend. So
Okay.
yeah, sometimes he would tell me like he would open up and tell me going through this and this, and then yeah, that is like when it's normal, but when he's up high in like the maniac episode kicks in, that's when he does crazy stuff. Like he would one thing the American attitude,
Mm-hmm.
like the freedom of speech, like they have like the freedom of speech in the States where
Right. Right.
they
Yeah.
can just talk against publicly about a president or someone in the office.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Outspoken.
when
Yeah.
he has yeah, yeah, outspoken. So when he has that maniac episode, like he would just meet the Filipino on the street and then try to just talk about the president of the Philippines. And
Okay, that would be
there,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
because
there was a time when we went out. We went out. We were hanging out with his buddy, his girlfriend, and um, another girl. We were hanging out, and then after when tried to walk out the restaurant,
mhm.
he was he was talking with his buddy about like the president of the Philippines, and then he started lashing out like out from nowhere. He started lashing out.
Really, okay.
Yeah, about the drug the because here in the Philippines some years back, president of the Philippines declared war on
On
drugs.
drugs. Yeah,
So yeah, there's been a lot of I don't want to get political about it, but
yeah,
there's been some vigilante killings here in the Philippines against the drug lords, the people that has been doing drugs.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, his point was like his point about against the president of the Philippines was like you're not allowed to kill people
Right,
just
right,
because they're drug addicts. And
right.
he was just listening like lashing out in public. And I told him, bro, we're out in public. You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
had
to do
to
it.
try
Yeah,
control him a bit. Yeah,
yeah. You control you control yourself, and when we go home, that's when you can talk to us about it. But
yeah,
yeah, he used to have those moments where he's outspoken,
yeah, yeah.
outspoken at times when he's having this manic episode.
And
And
it's completely opposite to what like the normal
yeah,
Filipinos probably used to.
yes,
I think Filipinos would probably be keeping quiet about that when this guy is
yes,
really making it known
this one,
what he thinks.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, it's,
and during his down, like during his down moments, he would just unfriend everyone.
right.
Like he probably unfriended me twice, and then first after some months, probably after a month or two, he would unblock me. No, he would
Mm,
unblock me. He actually
yeah,
blocked me. Like he would block everyone. This circle of friends. And we would start messaging each other saying, hey, what is happening to this guy? He blocked every one of us.
yeah, yeah,
And then after some months, he would unblock all of us. And yeah, sometimes he would message me and he said, bro, I'm sorry for being a isolative, isolative piece of jerk or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because I understand him, because I understand his
Uh,
mental state, I would just
the
say it's okay, bro. Nothing's wrong.
I like the fact that he recognizes it. You know what I mean? It's like it does. It's not like he denies it. It's like, yeah, I did block you. You know, I did actually
Yeah,
block you because I was going through my
yeah,
episode. So
yeah,
here I am again. I
yeah,
do like that about him though. Like he's honest. It's not like he pretends like nothing happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then yes,
Well,
so
Kenneth has a comment here. All good man.
uh-huh,
I've had very bad anxiety when I was a kid, even until now, and I could never socialize properly, and it took a lot of work and mental fortitude to start getting over it. And alcohol
yeah,
helped. Ha ha ha.
Kenneth,
Yeah, Kenneth. Yeah,
yes,
bro. I think you're not uh alone in that. Like a lot of people,
yeah,
me included, we would like run to alcohol or partying and
yes,
to try and escape whatever's happening in the real world. So
yeah,
you're
that's
not very you're not don't think you're alone in that aspect. Uh, but yeah, I think in PNG there could be more done in terms of like this. Kenneth is saying when he was younger he had already feelings of anxiety and
mm-hmm,
he couldn't socialize properly, and I think that in other developed countries they sometimes pick up on that. Some of the teachers are especially trained and they will
yeah,
actually
that's true.
pick up on that and then maybe say, "Oh, let's put little Kenneth a program to see or
Yeah.
get him diagnosed by a doctor or see if anything's wrong, and then if nothing's wrong, then come back, But otherwise, if there's something,
Yes.
maybe they could do something for him. So I don't think anything like that is being done in PNG, which I hope that one day it does change and we do have a system like that in place.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Regarding your point, there should be some systems, not only in houses or in places, in public places, but also in schools. Like
mm,
there should be, I don't know. Yeah, I've never heard about like a council office
yeah, yeah,
in student council office in
mm,
Papua New Guinea. But
mm.
here in the Philippines, there are some schools, not some schools, but there are actually
You have a
schools
school
where they have
counselor.
like school counseling.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you are going through a lot, like some depressing moments or anxiety, if you're facing anxiety, there's actually some psychologists in schools where you
mm,
can actually go and book an appointment with them and
mm.
just sit down and talk with them.
And just talk,
Yeah, this
even
actually,
if it's just
yeah,
talking, not like just talk. And
this talk.
mm,
It's actually trained professionals, but I've never seen that in schools in Papua New Guinea.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah,
And I think that's a good point. Like me too, when I was
yes.
growing up in PNG, I didn't see that at all, and I didn't hear about it
Yeah.
even afterwards.
It's
So
actually
mm,
it's called a guidance office.
right,
It's
okay,
called a guidance office. I don't know if it's there also in Australia, but yeah, here in the Philippines, it's called guidance office, where, like I said, people, students with um, facing anxiety or going through a lot regard to
mm,
school, they can go and then talk with the,
yeah,
the psychologist. Yeah.
yeah.
But I've never seen that in PNG.
And I would like to. That's another thing we can bring up with the professional, the health professional that'll try to come on, to get to come on the live stream, is whether those are available for the general population or even kids in school. Because I think if you get it early, you can treat it better. So if you leave it too long, it can get worse. So if you
Yes, that's
identify it like in kids, I think you can deal with it better. You can manage it or even cure
mhm.
it completely. So um, yeah, everyone's different. I mean, a lot
Yes.
of people handle their issues by themselves, and then some need some help. So I think um, yeah, that's a good point. That communities there,
That's
like
true.
that's what I try to build this positive community that we can help each other and yeah, have someone to talk to. Basically, that's it. We're just here to talk. Um, so yeah, it's that's what we're doing, talking.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed in PNG, um, our universities don't really probably offer the psychology course. Probably there's some. I think in PNG, University of PNG, they do, but
Mm,
it's not really like a thing in Papua New Guinea where people go to study psychology.
mm,
Like
mm.
here in the Philippines, there's actually schools like
Courses,
universities
yeah.
here.
Mm,
Yeah, like the course psychology is actually it's actually on demand here. Like
right.
people go to those people apply for those courses to study psychology to become psychologists, and they work
Mm,
in those hospitals where
yeah,
people can go and seek out with mental illness. And there
yeah.
are some everywhere you go, there's actually some mental clinics here
Mm,
in the
mm,
Philippines. Yeah, in malls, just around the street. If you're asking for a mental clinic, someone just can just recommend there's a mental clinic on that address. They will give you an address to go and talk to a psychologist.
mm.
But in Papua New Guinea, we don't have that. Like
No.
that's the thing I noticed. That
Oh, well, I
psychology,
haven't heard of one, but maybe there is. I'm not sure, but maybe there's someone that can tell us that if there is one.
yeah,
But it's definitely
okay,
um, an area that uh, they should be, yeah. Like because not only
I see.
because they're there to help people, but people can have it as a profession and earn money
Yes, yes,
and make a living of helping others. Uh,
that's true.
that's an opportunity there, and that's a very good point, bro. That's a very good point to bring up.
Mm,
That
yeah,
we need more um, professionals in that field, in that medical field.
And
Mm.
even some of us, when we go through those type of mental state, like being angry all the time, being angry all the time on like
Mm.
over certain little things, like that is not normal. That is actually part of depression already. So
Yeah.
in Papua New Guinea, in PNZ, back in PNZ, we are not people are not knowledgeable in this type of areas, so they think that being angry all the time over certain little thing is just part of emotions. But in fact, it's actually already part of depression. So
Mm.
if someone who's going through that, you need to seek help. Really need to seek help
Yeah. Yeah.
and talk to someone.
Bro, we got some comments
Um,
here. Explosive. Welcome to the stream, bro. Explosive. He says he's on anxiety suppressors and antidepressant. Okay, bro.
antidepressant. Uh-huh.
So it looks like he's going through his own battle with anxiety and
Who is
antidepressant.
that?
This is Explosive. His name's
Someone on
Explosive.
the street?
Yeah, William,
Oh, okay,
also known as William. And also
okay.
uh, Putanavio, he says, true that more facilities and professionals. Good point. We need that, bro. And
Yes,
Kenas is saying, and Filipino psychology is a mandatory subject in my university, where it
that's true.
describes how a Filipino thinks and their history to why they think like that. And I would like to
That's
see
true.
a subject like that implemented within our schools. That's a
Yeah,
good point. I would love to see that
that,
too.
that's a,
Mm.
that's a good point because yeah, what he said is actually true because in the universities in the Philippines, there's actually a subject for
Right.
psychology. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
actually a subject in the semester where you have to take psychology
Oh, right.
as a
Like
minor subject.
as
Yes,
mandatory. Like everyone has to take this
yes,
subject.
it's mandatory. So yeah, it comes with yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
actually
good.
studied. I took up psychology in I think my second year in college.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually mandatory. Like no one can escape from it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually. So they talk about. I remember my professor used to talk about like how the brain is being functioning and how it reacts to certain situations and how also the emotions affect the brain and everything like the cognitive function of the brain and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's also like one of the things where um, the government should look up into it and try to implement it in our schools
Yeah.
because in Papua New Guinea I don't think psychology is actually part of the minor subjects in school. Yeah,
I think it's beneficial because um, if you say you're a student and you're going through these issues, and then you start learning about it, you learn about what you might be going through, and you'll be able to maybe deal with it or seek more assistance.
yes,
So it's good that you given the
yeah.
tools to identify what you
Given
have. Yeah.
so
Uh,
it's like our own body. Like if we our body, like the physical body, if we put like if we don't eat the right amount of protein, like the nutrients, the nutrition, everything,
mhm.
our body tend to shut down over time. Like if you are filling your body with alcohol every week, like days after days, or if you're
Yeah.
eating
Yeah.
junk food all the time, it over time the body
You
doesn't function
deteriorate.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also with the brain, if we are knowledgeable in some factors like some factors in life, we tend to get the right things into the brain to
Mm.
make it function well and healthy over time. But if we are just being ignorant about some things and try to give in with the situation in life,
Yeah.
it over time it corrupt the brain and people tend to have this depression over time just because they cannot control it. They cannot control the situation around them.
Yeah.
So
That's a good.
yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah,
That's a good point you mentioned. When you think about everyone thinks about their body, keeping healthy, and The brain is,
Yes.
I think, is kind of like the body in terms of
Yes.
if it keeps on taking hits, it'll get
Yes.
exhausted and you need to recuperate.
Yes.
So I think just
Yes.
like your
Yes.
brain, if you're getting if you've had a trauma, it's like taking a hit, and it needs time to recuperate and heal,
Yes.
and then you can get back to normal. So yeah, good point, bro. Just going back to explosive, he said he's on the anxiety suppressants and antidepressant. He's going to actually appear on one of my live streams in the coming days. So keep a lookout for Explosive. He's a video game streamer. So shout out to X.
Okay. Okay.
And also Ricardo here has said, I can I can somewhat relate. I have a mental disability where I can't socialize properly, but that's not true. I have a hard time trusting some people because some people take my kindness for weakness and take advantage of me.
Yeah.
That
I
is
think
that is
I
unfortunate. Hmm.
I can relate to that.
Right. Of being taken
Like
advantage
what
of.
you said. Yeah. 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 People take advantage of you because you're just too kind.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to watch out for that, Ricardo. Don't let.
Yeah.
Oh, he was actually
Sometimes.
responding to Kenas, but that's a good point you bring
Uh,
up. Um,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
find yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
it, I mean, in regard to what the the person on the live stream said, sometimes we just have to be, have the guts to say no, or have the guts to say no to people,
Yeah. That's
or
it.
try to stand
Mm.
up for yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Over time, like people take advantage of our kindness, and then over time, this also leads to depression. Like, just because we people are not treating us with respect, and just over time, there's emotions building up, and then suddenly we go into depression. So everything leads to another thing, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
suddenly we find ourselves not in a better place.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah,
You've got to really be careful who you associate with, who you hang around with, because it can
yes, yes,
affect you mentally,
yes.
and you know, you got to choose your friends wisely. I think is what I think, Ricardo. You should try and just see if you can get some good mates who will back you up
Mhm.
wherever you go. Putting a video here as a comment, he says, I think a major issue is identifying that there is a mental issue in the first place. So yeah, that's a good point. Going back to what I mentioned about the mandatory psychology subject, I think Kenneth was speaking on. Um, it gives those kids the tools to identify that they might have a problem. Some might even not even
Yes,
know.
yes,
So I think that would be a really good for our school curriculum in PNG to have something
yes,
like that.
yes. They should have implemented that in the near future. They should
Yeah,
have. They
yeah.
should. They should. Yeah.
Mm. And I think not a lot has been done in the field of mental health and that. So it's time that there's more awareness about that. This is a real issue. That we're no longer in the 70s. Where we're a young country. Most of our people were in villages and living off the land and things like that. Now we're all in the city, and these type of issues are happening. These mental health issues are happening.
That's true.
And last night, actually, I had David from Niunet. He came on and he brought up a good point that uh, before we didn't have these issues really. We didn't really have those issues, but now we have all this social media and everything. We have a lot of friends, but
Yes, yes,
no sort of strong sort of base found like your good friends that will you can
yes,
actually
yes.
talk to, and you can have like a
That's true.
thousand friends on your Facebook friends list, but you only talk to two or three. Yeah. So
True.
the quality of friendships and your support systems is not as strong as before. I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then there's also another thing in Facebook, like social media in general. People find this validation through social media. Like they just feel out of they just people find validation through social media.
Mm-hmm.
There's like actually a lot of people now trying to impress other people on social media because in real life they realize that they cannot make such friends in real life. So they go to social media to make friends, to post videos or post not videos, photos or
Mm-hmm.
whatever on Facebook or Instagram, just to have the like, the
I
click.
get
You
you.
know,
I
people,
get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, click
Like
and click, and they
it inflates their
yeah,
ego or something like, oh, I have all these
yeah.
friends, and when in
You
actual
know,
fact they're not friends.
it there's an hormone called dopamine.
Yeah, yeah.
Dopamine is actually hormone in the brain where it activates when there's like what's that? There's like uh, a short
It's like a
term
natural high, sort of. It's a natural.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
a chemical,
dopamine.
right?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it happens when there's like a short um validation to something. So
Right.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
people now posting photos on Instagram, and when someone click like or react to the photo and comment and everything, like compliment them, that's it. They get the
They get
validation.
that rush. Yeah. They get that.
Validation.
Yeah.
And then this chemical rush that goes and do the activates the dopamine in the brain, and they just feel good about themselves,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah.
And then sometimes when they post something and people are not reacting or people are not doing that, like they just have this, they just go into sometimes they go into depression,
Mm.
just because they don't get the attention that they are getting before. So
Yeah.
those are
Yeah.
like the thing that has been happening over time now, like since like someone you mentioned that someone came yesterday, right? Yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
last night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned that. So like before, during the time of our parents, there wasn't like no social media, like no
Exactly.
social media. So
Yeah.
there's not been such things like depression. Depression wasn't really a thing back then. Only those people who have face depression are people that they go through challenges in life with family members and other things in real life. But now, in terms of this digital age where everything is just being online, like people have this, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
people you know, have this tendency where they get depressed because what they saw online or what the attention that they are not getting online.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a thing that is happening right now
Yeah.
in this 21st century.
We have a question,
Yeah.
bro. Coming in
Uh-huh.
from explosive again. This is
Okay.
if I ran out of my meds and I have an anxiety attack, how can I control that situation or come out of it without causing harm?
I probably would say if you have family members around you, try to talk to your family members, stick with your family members because your parents are the ones that they're not gonna hurt you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
apart from your friends, your parents are the people that you can trust the most. Your parents or your siblings. So those are the people where you should get help from them if you're running out of your meds.
Mm-hmm.
Try to talk. Like talking, communication is a thing that you can be used to get yourself together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Good point. So yeah, explosive. Um, I would say uh, there was a podcast I was listening to from Niunet. This
Mhm.
gentleman called Solly. He's a boxer, and he went through depression and anxiety. He mentioned a lot to getting out and being active. Um, so
Oh yeah.
he was very fit guy, but still was affected by depression. But he said that
Mhm.
going out for exercise and things like that
Yes,
helped his
yes,
body, and in turn it helped his mind. So
yes.
that
That's
could be a possible solution. I'm not a professional again, so but that we'll definitely take that question again, and we'll use that to ask it to the professional that I'm going to try and bring onto the show, and hopefully you can join us for that explosive and then bring that question up again.
that is really true because sometimes I experience that. I have one moments where I just don't like I have moments where I just lock myself in the room and go through depression.
Yeah,
During the
yeah.
pandemic,
Mm.
wasn't, there was lockdown here in the Philippines,
Yeah,
also probably like all around the world. And like here in the Philippines, basically here in Cebu, there was like really strict lockdowns where people were not allowed to go out and go to, um, yeah, just hang
yeah.
around, go out with friends and all that. And yeah,
It's
it
very
actually
depressing.
really got me.
Mm.
Yeah, I was so depressed. I was just sleeping, wake up in the morning like I don't want to get out of my bed.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the depression, like the feeling of depression, like this thing was just really affecting me. And
Mm.
then suddenly, like
Were you able
I
to even go to the gym or anything?
yeah, the gym was closed. Everything was closed,
Everything
bro.
was closed, so you couldn't go
Everything was
anywhere.
closed. So like yeah, so like sometimes I would, I would just be really depressed. Like most of the time, I would be really depressed. And because one thing also the other thing I was depressed is because I used to walk around to go around places to blog, and that's how I do my content on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah,
But when the lockdown happened, like I couldn't go out and everything was just shut down. And there was like the tourist spots were closed, people are not allowed to walk around the places. um
mm.
Everything was just shut down.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it really got to me. Like I went through these depressing moments in my life.
mm.
Like I
Mm.
would just wake up in the morning, I don't know what to do. Like I don't know what to do. My life,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought my life was just a mess, like all over the place. I would wake up in the morning, I didn't know what to do. Just go out of the gates, then
Mm.
and then come back again. Nothing to do. Just sleeping all day. Like it was just a mess. And then suddenly, um, just
The restrictions
some
got
months
lifted.
after, yeah, they started taking off the restrictions, and they started opening the gyms, and like they started allowing people to go out and do some form of exercise around the parks and the places here. So
Yeah,
that was how I recovered from the depression. My depressing moments, I just walk out, try to walk around, and also used to go to the gym. Yeah, I started working out, and also one thing, like during the lockdown, I actually gained a lot of weight. I
right.
really gained weight. Yeah, and that was I also the
Adds
thing
to
one
your
thing
depression.
that adds to my depression.
Yeah,
And then I started like everything when the government started taking out some restrictions and allowing people to go out, walk around, go to the gym. That's when I was going to the gym and yeah,
mm, mm.
walking like working out and doing his exercises. And after that, like I started coming back,
You start to feel
the
better.
depression,
You would feel
feeling
better.
better.
I think also
Yeah,
when you go to the gym, you were talking about those endorphins before. After you actually
yeah,
go for a little bit of a workout, those endorphins is a
yeah,
small endorphin release, so you feel really good that you
yes,
know you were just
yeah,
exercised and so yeah, good
yes.
point,
So
bro.
yeah, good point.
Um,
If
we have
for those out
another
there feeling
with I think there's some answers here to explosives question. He said explosive actually also mentioned that before taking meds he would take it out on his wife and kids. That's very sad, bro. Sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. But I hope you have sort of
wake up,
come around the
up,
corner and sort of
yes,
improved, and uh, hopefully your kids and your wife are understanding. I think they are if they are still supporting you now. Um, and Ricardo goes on to say, agreed, I battled depression because of a traumatic experience that happened to me in the past. I think we find yeah, that's a common issue that something traumatic happens. So you're not alone there, Ricardo. Um,
uh,
mediums. Put on a video says mediums such as music, being active or doing something. So he's answering to I think explosive. He's just saying music helps him and doing hobbies that you take your mind off the anxiety maybe. And also Ricardo agrees. He says music as well. And
yes,
Kenna says every time he goes through a hard time, he draws. He likes to draw a lot, so he's a bit of an artist. So that's
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah. It's actually one thing that if you're going through depression, go through some form of art, or try to just sit down and write a journal. Take a journal out and just write, express your ideas, express your thoughts on a journal, or like what
Oh yeah, yeah.
Kenneth has been saying.
Good point.
Yeah,
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 good point.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you find when
just
you do your vlogs as kind of therapeutic? Like uh, it,
yes,
it's like, I mean, it's all
like,
you. You know what I mean? It's not like it's
yeah,
not like me. Okay, for me to get my content, I play a video game and put that on the internet. But for you, you actually videotaping yourself going walking around.
yeah.
It's
Especially when I'm walking around, like when I'm holding my camera and walking around here in places like in the streets everywhere I go. Like I find it therapeutic because it helps also with how welcoming Filipinos are. Like when they see the camera, they're just friendly.
mm-hmm.
It helps. Like they watch me and be friendly to me, and it actually helps. Like
And they actually
it
want to
gets
be
some
on camera.
depression
I've seen
from
them.
me.
They're like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah,
sir."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas
People
I
like
think in
they find it
PNG
the
they
most.
would react the same. They might react the same. They're like, "Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
they
you for
would do
taking my
some.
photo."
Yeah, they would do this. Like yeah, I find it more therapeutic. So if you're someone who's just do what you love. Just do what
And
you
that's it.
love.
Yeah,
Do
good
it
point.
like that. Yeah, if you're into music, like yeah, if you're someone who likes to play a guitar, if you're depressed, yeah, that's a thing that you should do.
Yeah, it can
Grab
help.
a guitar and play, or just you know be with
Mm.
be with people who make you happy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
therapeutic. Like, yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
Find something you enjoy to do.
yeah,
That's not destructive. I'm not saying if you enjoy
yes.
to rob banks, go and rob a bank, but like just do stuff that is productive, and I think you'll see the benefits.
Productive and
Yeah,
also yeah, something that can help you to move, like be active.
yeah,
Yeah, like exercise.
yeah. That's it.
Because once you burn out the fats, burn out the sweat in your body, it's
Mm.
actually like a releasing of stress also.
Yeah,
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 I
and
find it
you get those good chemicals in the brain.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So good points, bro.
yeah.
Uh, Explosive says that was before, but don't he doesn't do that now. Okay, good to hear, bro. We're happy to hear that.
All right.
Um, yeah. So interesting topics. I think a lot could be done in
Okay.
PNG in our own country, and maybe like people like you who have the knowledge can the way you're sharing it with us now. Maybe there's
Yes,
students who are like say in Cebu or overseas who'll be able to go
yes,
back to PNG and implement those programs, those that knowledge they
yes,
gained overseas and put it back into PNG because I think there's a big void there in PNG that needs to be filled. And we're no
yes,
longer, we're a developing nation, but we're no longer in the 70s. And I know that a lot of the stuff is like people,
still here to
culturally, yes, the
with you.
stereotype is like uh, your
Yes,
mental, you want like long, like you go in a corner or something, you know,
yeah,
it shouldn't be like that anymore. And I think things should turn around. It's
yes, yes.
2022, and we need to turn things around.
There's actually there's actually a time when I was having this anxiety, not anxiety, depressing moments, and I was having an insomnia. Bro, like insomnia, that thing really affected me. Insomnia. I was having insomnia for like 3 weeks because I
Hmm.
was so depressed. That was, I think, my second year in college, my
Right.
second year in university. Yeah.
So
And when I went
so you
to,
couldn't sleep at all, or
yeah, I would sleep for 1 hour,
right?
and I would sleep, but my brain is still working.
Still rolling.
My
Yep,
brain
yep.
is still,
Yeah, it's
yeah, still
still
rolling.
ticking over.
Yeah. Thinking of something like, how am I gonna do this? So when I used to go into classrooms, I wake up in the morning, go to the class, And when I'm sitting in the classroom, like the teacher is explaining everything, my mind is not there. Like my body, everything is looking at the teacher. My eyes are looking at the teacher, but my brain is dead. Like
Mm,
it's not
mm,
functioning. And that thing, like it actually happened. It actually stayed with me for 3 weeks. I was experiencing insomnia and depression for 3 weeks straight, and
right.
I couldn't even sleep. Like yeah, and even my friends were seeing me in school, and they were like there were times where I was just sitting, would be sitting like there was like 3 times in school. Like I would be waiting for my next class, and I would be sitting in one of the corners in school, and I would be just sitting there like daydreaming alone. And my friends would approach me, and they were like, "Hey, are you okay, bro? You seem a little bit off."
Mm,
And I'll be
mm.
like, "No, I'm good, good. I'm just going through some moments right now."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then like I couldn't take it anymore. I was living with the insomnia for 3 weeks already. I couldn't take it anymore, so I went to um in the schools. Also in the schools, every school there has like a clinic. If you're feeling sick or anything, you can just walk into the clinic, and
Mm,
they would prescribe a medicine for you. So I went into the clinic, school clinic. I went into the school clinic and I was talking to the physician, the doctor in the school clinic. I told him I'm here because my insomnia is, I couldn't help it. Like I cannot get rid of this insomnia. So he prescribed me some medicine.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, he prescribed me some drugs, and yeah, after that I went to the pharmacy, got some, bought the drugs. I went home, drank, and I felt like I was really sleeping. Yeah, and yeah, when I wake up the next day, like I got the really good amount of sleep that I was supposed to be getting
Mm.
throughout the week. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, good to hear you've
yeah,
gotten over it.
yes, I got over it.
Nice.
Yeah,
And that's
it was like
interesting how your friend uh he, I find it interesting how he came over. He knew something was wrong.
yeah,
He knew that you weren't 100%, and like he gauged that off you. So that's a good thing
yes,
to have your if you have a good friend, they can sense if something's
yeah,
wrong, and even them just asking, "Are you okay?" is really good. Bro, we have some comments here. Kenaz is
okay,
saying that's one of the things I'm working towards is getting the psychology subject and guidance counselors into schools. Nice to hear
yeah.
that, bro.
It's a
And
must, bro.
so Explosive also says he wants to share something again. So I'll just
Okay.
read his comment. He says, since coming here, I've only noticed that I had issues, but didn't notice when I was back in PNG. So, sorry, Explosive is in Australia. So he's saying
Mm,
he didn't notice the issues when he was back in PNG. So he's asking, is there a reason why? Is it because of the two different cultures or living on my own, looking after my family, compared to living with my parents? Um, but personally, I think that there is maybe some source of your anxiety could be from a new environment where you are now, and definitely being I think your main family Explosive I think is in PNG if I'm not mistaken. So you have your own there your immediate family as in your wife and kids, but
yeah,
you also have your parents and family um, back in PNG. So that can cause a bit of anxiety, yeah, like you miss
yes,
home and that homesickness, whatever it is, and you miss being with
yes,
your
yes.
family. So definitely, I think that's a factor. What do you think, Steve? And
Yeah,
for
I
you as
think
well, you're overseas, so you would have experienced that same level of
I
homesickness.
I in my first year being here, but then I got used to it. So I like being alone. To be honest, like I
Yeah,
don't like being alone. I don't like being around with a lot of people. It drains my energy. And
right,
also
right.
back at home, I we live in a family where we have a lot of family members around. Like not only the nuclear family. Like we in my case, like my mom was taking care of my cousins and also the aunties and uncles. They used to come around, and our place, like our house, is always full with a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say being alone here, like I'm more happy here than
Mm.
being with my parents back home because
You have your own space.
I don't,
You can do your own thing.
I don't, yeah, I enjoy my own space. So I think also probably one of the things also adding up to like the depression and stuff, like when you go out of your parents um out of the out of your parents house and you're living on your own and you have like these responsibilities that you have to take care on your own, like
Mm.
you have to
Mm.
pay for your own bills, you know, because when we live with our parents, like we don't have such thing as bills. That's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
those things are taken care by our parents.
yeah,
But when we live on our own, and whatever money that we have to pay for our bills and we have to
yeah.
pay for the necessity. And also one thing like
You
I,
have
I
that independent, you know,
yeah,
independency. So you like, it feels like
yeah, yeah,
I have
yes,
control. Like I have
I
to,
think so.
I have to work to get to pay the bills, but
Yeah,
I'm in control.
yes,
Like
yes,
you know, I'm
yes,
no one else. I'm not relying on anyone.
yes.
Yeah,
And also some people like we go into this stage where we are we are more we have to be like responsible to look after because we like some guys they go into the stage where they have to be responsible to look after the nuclear family. Like they have they have kids and also a wife.
mm,
I
mm.
think those also some of the things that sometimes, sometimes it adds to the burden,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
responsibility because they have to be
Added
responsible sometimes.
responsibility. Yeah, that's
It's,
a good point.
sometimes it could add to, you know, the depression and all that. But
Yeah, yeah,
it's part of life. It's part of life.
yeah. It
Just
is. Yeah.
try. Yes,
So yeah,
and
explosive. You're not alone, bro. Like I
yeah,
think a lot of people go through the same thing, and
yeah,
having your own small family unit is like
yeah,
added responsibility to you, and
yes,
also taking away your support system back home in PNG. You know, you might feel like who's supporting me type thing. So
yes,
there is a
yes,
burden there.
yeah.
Um,
That's
uh,
a, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are depressing because they.
yeah,
Sorry, man.
yeah. So
Yeah. Um.
sorry.
Yeah.
Ricardo has a question. Oh, sorry. He put a comment here, so I'll just read his comment out. He says, "When I battle depression, so many thoughts run through my head. For me to write in a journal, for me to keep up." Oh, okay. So that's why he listens to music. So I think
Yeah.
he. So Ricardo, did you say you write in a journal, or you prefer not to write in a journal? I'm thinking what he's saying is when you mentioned the writing in a journal is good. He's saying he prefers to listen to music. But yeah,
Yeah.
whatever works for you, you know what I mean. So uh, what may work for Stephen may not work for me, or what worked for me may not work for Stephen. So it's definitely a personal sort of thing that you have to find what works for you, and what works for someone else, I don't think will work for another
Yeah.
person. So that's what I think about that. But thank you, Ricardo. Thanks for that comment.
All right.
Yeah, bro. So it's we've hit the hour mark. It's been a
Yeah.
insightful
We hit
stream.
already
We
1 hour, right?
yeah, we've hit 1 hour
Oh.
exactly. So
Okay.
yeah, thank you for sharing whatever you've come up with us today, and given us a lot of insight into uh, what you've dealt with, as well as your friends, and also
Yes.
what can be improved in Papua New Guinea. So thank you very
Thank
much,
you, bro.
bro.
Thank you,
Yeah,
bro.
and
Thanks
hopefully
for having me.
we I know you at the start of the stream you said before the stream, sorry, you mentioned you're gonna get a new laptop, and hopefully we're gonna see more videos on YouTube, more YouTube
Yeah.
vlogs.
More YouTube videos starting next month.
Yeah,
Probably mid next month, I should have some videos.
very
Yeah.
good, very good. I'm a fan. So if you're
Thank you, man.
watching the stream and you want to go check out Steven's YouTube channel, it's pinned to the chat. And if you can't find that, just reach out to me and I will send that to you. So on that note,
Thanks, bro.
Steven, thank you very much. It's been
Thanks,
a
man.
pleasure to have you on the live stream, and hopefully we can speak again soon, bro.
Uh, Take care, bro.
All right. Good night, everyone.